My name is Drake.
Salim. I am Sheikh of this tribe. Why are you here? Why do the English cross the Rub al-Khali?
They're looking for the lost city of Ubar.
Hiram of the Pillars.
They've taken my friend hostage. He's the only one who knows the way.
3,000 years ago, King Solomon commanded the power of the Jinn, demons born of smokeless fire, until they rebelled. He imprisoned them in a vessel of brass and cast it into the depths of the city. Iran became a place of evil, cursed by the tormented spirits of the Jinn. The English must not reach the city. If they unleash the power of the Jinn,
We don't have much time, do we?
no.
苏利大叔凭借他的超强技能力记住了亚特兰蒂斯的位置。
Tonight, rest.
Tomorrow, they enter the canyons.
We'll take them there.
We ride at dawn. To the convoy! Follow me this way! You got it!
苏利大叔凭借他的超强的技能力记住了乌巴场的位置。内特和赛琳两个人准备骑马突袭车队，把他救出来。
Stay close! Stay close!
在这峡谷里，车队的速度应该不会很快，而且马的速度差不多也能达到每小时60公里左右吧，不用担心追不上车队。
Careful, this pass is narrow. Salim, is it much farther? We are nearly there. The convoy will be up ahead.
而且我们还可以走汽车走不了的路，可以抄近道。这里这么狭窄，好怕撞了头啊！
Be careful, be careful. There they are. The convoy is right below.
追上了，
We have to hurry. Drake, save your bullets. They're too far away. They're out of range.
这个一般没人会傻到是两边离这么远的距离，然后都在移动，还去拿枪对着他们扫射去吧。
This is a shortcut. Just stay with me.
捷径，离车队越来越远，是我的错觉吗？
Come on, we're nearly there. Come on.
还真是错觉，确实接近他们了，至少高度变低了，更容易追上了。
Quickly, now is our chance. Let's go.
刚好追上这车队的尾巴，
Drake, get on the trucks. Take these guys out. I'll get the one on the left.
到卡车后面跟着，先别急着跳上去，等他跳上去以后我再跳。因为左右两个敌人，我先干着左边这个的话，右边会把我干死，他速度特别慢的。所以说等他上来以后，我们俩同时干死敌人，这样我才安全。然后上了转运体，前面还有两个骑摩托车的，他们俩干了以后，再离开这儿，也可以打爆他们的摩托车，也可以干掉他们本人。这地方特别不好瞄准，毕竟两边都在移动着，比较颠簸。都干死了，可以回到我的马上了。别忘了补充弹药，这弹药特别稀少，这种高难度动作。这两辆车上解决，再往前推进，前面这辆卡车上又会有新的敌人。每往前推进一辆卡车，就会有一个新的敌人。一边骑马一边把他干死，最好别指望能接近他近战他，因为他杀伤力也是很强。他没等我接近他，有可能就会被干死。上来以后又会有敌人摩托车追上来，再找掩体等着他过来。而且每次都是两辆摩托车，几乎有时候也有一辆的。干掉这一个以后，第二个过一会儿才会在我后面刷出来。如果没刷来的话，就往前移动一下视角，然后再往回看，然后他才会刷出来。后视角往哪儿看还有关系的。OK， 上马。前面这次是两辆卡车，意味着有两个敌人左右各一个，先把离我比较近的这个解决。还好这段路不算颠簸，比较容易瞄准了。再跳到他们车上，一是补充弹药，二是找掩体来对付他摩托车，在马上也能打摩托车，只不过比较危险。再跳到隔壁车上补充弹药，后面摩托车已经追上来了。再 再转一下视角，让后面这摩托车再刷出来，用手枪吧，为了节约弹药。搞定，再回到马上。这次的摩托车飞得好高。穿过这两辆卡车，前面又是两辆卡车，还是两个敌人。我的马速度够快，所以可以到其中一辆卡车的侧面拿着车当掩体。当然，你得先干死其中一个敌人才行。跳到卡车侧面，然后上了脚掩体，再干掉对面车上人。这摩托车，哎，这摩托车是谁干死的？干死这货以后，直接回到马上就行了。这次只有一辆摩托车，而且还不是被我干死的。继续往前推进，前面虽然只有一辆卡车，但卡车上敌人拿的是 RPG， 别直直冲他跑，准备往侧面躲一下。他这 RPG 射的神准，很可能会被射到。如果直直跑的话，干到他以后上车拿他 RPG， 前面两辆卡车上装备的机枪，用 RPG 把他们轰掉，每辆车来一发就足够了。和之前在船上的时候一样，比较难轰到。轰掉他们以后，先别急着走，把枪换回来，然后我这辆车也快炸了，跳回马上。时机刚好。这里还有不少敌人还没结束，所以说我才把枪捡回来。车上也有人，也有骑摩托的。骑摩托的威胁比车上直接更大一些，一共3个，优先解决他们吧。虽然我优先解决了卡车上的，在这里我防御力都变强了。他们给我这么多枪，我还没死。哎，看打错人了。OK 了，安全了。这敌人也够拼的。
Roadkill.
Whew. Come on! Give me your hand!
我的马跑了，所以说只能做他的了。现在离车队还不远，他能追上。然后这么远的距离，他们还能向我射击，还能击中我，但是我就不能打他们，肯定打不到的，因为队友也来汇合了。哦，我这马还追回来了，跳回自己的马上。这2辆车替我炸掉了一辆，还剩1个人，这样好打多了。因为我没子弹了，干了他以后就剩6颗子弹了。再追上这辆卡车上去补充一下弹药。这次上卡车的话，就不会再有敌人摩托车追上来了。这车队马上就要到头了，比之前稍微容易一些。光捡好弹药之后，立刻再回到 C 马上就行。哎，我马呢？怎么跑那儿去了？滚过来！虽然我补充过弹药了，但是还是不多，只剩26发了。先上最右边这辆卡车。我去，打得濒死了。先在这儿躲一下吧，等回好血以后再上去，别回到马上了，回马上太不安全了。所以说从这辆车上把前面2辆卡车上敌人干死，这辆车能给我提供掩体，比在马上可安全多了。考虑到敌人杀伤力这么强。然而我捡了这么多子弹并没什么用处，这枪法很准，只用了几颗子弹就把这2辆卡车上敌人全都干死了。这样可以说是全部敌人都杀光了，只要追上最前面的几辆车就行了。还真在这儿。这货向我射击也不用管，反正有大叔呢。又来胖子，这7胖了吧？上车去帮大叔一把。我非常兴奋，这 道为什么吗？因为这是最后一个胖子。他们妈真是太能生了，这7胞胎还是8胞胎，我已经记不清楚了。而且这个还比较好打一些，因为我不需要把他干死，只需要把他打得半死就可以。这有点像《终结者3》的某个镜头，赶紧落到司机马上。这么几个人干翻了整个车队。
Hey. You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine, but... Damn, I was sure they'd killed you, kid.
Well, they tried, right?
So how the hell did you find me all the way out here?
I had some help.
Salim,
Sullivan, thank you.
we haven't much time. We cannot allow them to reach the city.
Oh, I don't know.
He's right, Nate. I've been trapped with those crazy bastards for days. I don't know what the hell it is Marlowe's after exactly, but it sure as hell ain't treasure. We gotta stop them.
Drake, we must go, now. Yalla!
Never a dull moment, huh, Sully?
Why change now?
Yeah!
There, straight ahead!
Into the storm? Are you sure you know what you're doing?
Trust me, Drake! Trust me!
然后就走丢了。
Salim!
Drake, where are you?
Sully! Sully, stay close!
Where's Celine?
Must have lost him!
It's no good. Let him go.
You must know something we don't.
在这沙尘暴里，仿佛是来到了北京一样。
It's the convoy. Hang back, Sully. I'll go check it out.
能见度非常的低，大概也就50米左右吧。这两个敌人不用管，反正他们也发现不了我。先把这边车旁边这货撒了，暗杀掉之后，可以拿他的暗杀武器狙击，虽然毛用没有，只是用来观察用的，因为我不打算用这把狙击枪杀人。前面这俩货不杀，主要是因为没法把他们俩在不被发现的情况下暗杀，所以说等他们走到该到的地方之后分散开，再依次暗杀。远处他们正准备和那个模糊的身影汇合，因为那个人会往我这边看，所以说我离他们不要太近，免得他看见我，用狙击镜观察一下他们。
We're completely lost. Where the hell is the rest of the convoy? Report back if you find anything.
哎，他们和车队的其他人走丢了。然后说完话，他们3个就分开了。先把最左边这个杀死，因为他在车的这个掩体后面。哎，无论是背后绞杀，或者刚才这样直接揍死都无所谓的，反正都算是暗杀。换他的武器，这里还有一个重甲兵，所以说别急着过来，等个重甲兵往左回头以后，稍微慢点跟上来，看他回头，然后再暗杀这边这个普通杂兵。再捡一下榴弹枪，再上沙丘解决最右边这个，把他暗杀掉之后，100%会被其他剩下的敌人发现。所以说干掉他之后，立刻往回，一边连滚带爬的快速回来。有2个，其中一个重甲兵，还有一个拿机枪的敌人，都用榴弹把他们处理掉。这就是为什么捡榴弹枪，主要是用来对付他们的。只不过这个拿机枪的和之前那个不太一样，1颗榴弹就非常容易干掉，重甲兵还是需要2颗。换回我的 M9，还剩2个普通杂兵，很容易干掉。他们俩基本不会过来，所以说往前推过去。
Must have gotten separated in the storm. Come on.
这货很高几率都是躲在这个柱子后面。刚才临死前还给我摆了一个 pose， 然后你还想给我扔手雷？这第一批敌人是杀光了，但别往前走的太靠前了， 先补充一下弹药，换把微冲。走太靠前的话，会刷来第二批敌人。先到左边来，左边更好打一些。从这里找掩体之后，第二批敌人会刷出来。先看左边这个房顶，有一个拿狙击手枪的，干到他以后，还有一个拿榴弹的，在我正前方的房顶。这个位置我能打到他，他打不到我，直接把他爆头，解决子弹，然后再从这里找掩体。对面的房顶还有一个拿狙击的，把他也干掉。虽然看不太清楚，但差不多能明白他已经死了。上这个房顶，这个房顶上有 RPG 可以捡，用它炸掉正在向我扫射的这敌人车辆。这敌人一共是2辆车，还剩下1辆车，还剩下1颗 RPG， 不过不在这儿，在最右边。对，把大叔当成敌人了，先把这普通杂兵干掉，还会再刷来个重甲兵，把这敌人都处理完了再到右边去，不然他们这些敌人也会跟到我右边来，导致人越散越多，更不好杀了。这2个杂兵都杀了，准备重甲兵会从爬不来呢，估计是出什么 bug 或者被卡住了吧。我先到中路去吧，中路还会再来一个重甲兵呢。OK， 好歹这个重甲兵没出什么问题。等他离近一点以后，2个手雷送他回家。搞定以后，继续往右来，又有敌人机枪向我扫射，有普通杂兵向我扫射，所以说别冲得太鲁莽了。从这里先别上楼，把前面对面这敌人都解决一下以后再上去，免得他们也会一会儿攻击我。其实还有一个的，只不过他一直都没露头的话，我就先上来拿 RPG 把这车轰了吧。远处能看到敌人狙击手的这镭射，不过不用管。反正我现在看不见他，他能看见我，而且他瞄准需要时间长，所以说没必要太在意他。刚才左边那个重甲兵，哎，过来了，还真过来了，我时间算得很好。再来2颗，算了，他离我太近了，差点炸到我自己。他竟然吃了我1颗手雷了，干脆直接过来近战把他干死算了。哎，别再往前了，赶紧把他干死，不然的话就离开掩体了。刚出掩体这个位置，好在敌人没人攻击我。从这一侧往前推进，因为有弹药可以补充。从这里爬上来，这里虽然看着有缝，不过敌人不会透过缝打到我。先看一下这里有没有能看见敌人，没有的话就直接往下冲。
man.
右边看到一个有人露着脑袋，这就不作死了。狙手也能看见了，距离已经够近了。啊哈，居然没干死！这还有一个狙手，还是离得太远，看不清他的位置。然后对面这个只能看见他枪的火光，看不见人究竟在什么地方。不知道有没有炸到这个手雷，碰一下运气。再往前推进，趁着没人打我，这个距离能看到刚才那个狙手的模糊的身影了，能干死他了。听到的枪声越来越少了，估计刚才向我射击的或是最后一个了。果然，稍微补充一下弹药。前面有一扇超级巨大的门，开了一条缝。
Sonny, we're there. This is it. We made it. Come on, let's get inside. Wow, look at this place. It's amazing.
第二就是失落的乌巴城的入口。想要开启这扇大门的话，还是得费点事儿的。这个房间里环顾一下，右边有一个梯子可以用，这是唯一一个可以爬的地方。
Managed to swipe your notebook back off Mala. Figured it might come in handy.
Still got it.
Sully, up here. Found something.
It's stuck.
Nate, there's one on the other side.
I'll go see if I can get that one working.
对面还一个开关，得2个人同时按下这2个开关才行。先爬到这个像是电梯式的地方，苏力按下开关，电梯往上升。
You wait here.
等高度够的时候，跳到对面这个平台，然后再往下跳。跳的时候需要小心，别 滚过头了，我去，差点，很危险。这次往左边那2盏吊灯可以利用一下。
Almost there.
这2盏灯和之前那些不一样，完全不会晃的，更好爬一些。刚说完它就晃了一下，至少晃的幅度很小。
You ready? Go.
终于开启了这失落之城的大门。
It worked.
The words of Victor Sullivan, I'll be go to hell.
想下去的话，还是得利用这吊灯。这刚开的门上有个像梯子似的地方，利用这里落地。
Shit. It's true. It's really here.
Wow. Victor Sullivan.
"沙漠中的亚特兰蒂斯，整个城市都是被这城墙围绕着的。看来沙子是进不来这城墙。外面虽然是沙尘暴的天气，但这儿的天空还算是比较清澈的。建筑色调都以金色为主，不知道是纯金还是镀金了。
Incredible.
This is how the city could thrive all the way out here. The whole place must be fed by an underground spring. It's clean. It's amazing it's still running after all these years.
Now that's a hell of a thing. What?
No. No. Please. Sully.
Visuals are like plot points, you know? You don't just sort of write a story not knowing where you're going. You've got specific points you're trying to emphasize. Same thing with color. Color makes you feel a certain way. You know, pink, reds, greens, purples, all have an emotional effect on human beings. So you want to direct that color in service of the story you're trying to tell.
You want the final product to be valuable. You want it to be something that you can be proud of and something that is valid as an art form.
As an art director, you try to make sure the game is consistent. You try to make sure that, you know, we're using color and shape and lighting to all enhance the particular story we're telling. We want to make sure that everything emphasizes, you know, sadness, happiness, excitement, danger, low points, high points.
What really puts it together is the concept. The concept art will determine the lighting and the general macro of the look. It'll give you a good framing of the level, and and give you the feel, which is probably the most important thing. The artist needs to get the feel of the level so he can put the appropriate details.
We always go to an amazing lost civilization that we've never seen before, and that's always the challenge to come up with. This one, it's Sandlantis. It's this lost Arabian city that's in the middle of nowhere, and the hard part there is coming up with something that looks believable, that we've never seen before, but also looks historically accurate.
We definitely have a lot of different inspiration, and it definitely comes from everywhere in the company. I don't think there's a single person who has managed to sit still for the whole duration of the game and just do their own thing. They'll always want to contribute to the rest of it.
You got to do a lot of research into the architectural style. What are the sort of specific idioms that make something look authentic to that area? The motifs, you know, what are they doing? What are the materials they're using?
The texture shader artists paint textures for the surfaces that you see in the game. They plug those into shaders, and then through the shader you can apply surface qualities like wetness or dryness or whatever you need.
My team's responsible for all the weapons, props, vehicles. Anything that moves in the game is not a character, falls underneath the technical art / prop artist team.
We kind of take the world that's given to us and try to add motion to it. Try to add the subtleties that really sort of make an environment pop. Or take a collapse and add the dust, the debris, the volumetrics, and a little more of the bang to it. Kind of like the frosting on the cake.
Oh, man, that was close, huh?
Amy does a lot of research. The cool thing about the games is they're based in history and reality. So she always comes up with something that is real, authentic, exists in the world in terms of legend, and then we have to come up with what it looks like.
We do a lot of research, and hopefully it's tangible in the game when people play it, that the devil's in the details, and a lot of us are pretty kind of OCD, anal retentive, whatever you want to call it, about sort of perfecting the details of things, and that we want it to be right. You know, if we're going to have a foreign language in the game, we want it to be correct. If we're going to say this level takes place in one area of the world, we do a ton of research to make sure that it's accurate.
She holds us pretty true to history, so you can't just go crazy and like come up with all sorts of fanciful stuff. It has to be rooted in something authentic. So that's the challenge in terms of making these civilizations that look incredible and amazing, but everything in there is based on something we've done research about.
We use film, we use whatever kind of reference we can get our hands on to see, how other people represented this before, and what do we want to do differently? What are our favorite elements of that? What are the things that, are like those key moments,
We tend to go a little bit nuts in terms of gathering reference, in terms of talking about it, in terms of watching movies. We even had some of our team sliding down sand dunes in the desert to figure out just what that would look like.
It was a very, very crazy, fun trip, but it was fascinating and really actually inspiring to see that when you step in this really soft sand, the sand flowing down the ridge actually looks so liquid, almost kind of equivalent to mercury. Like there's a little bit of viscosity to it, but it actually looks like a liquid. And so we just went out there with our cameras, got sand everywhere, and just pulled in a dozen hours of amazing reference of us diving down the dunes, of us running up and down the dunes and crawling the different ways like you would actually move if you were tired, because it was 114 degrees outside and we were exhausted.
After collecting ridiculous amounts of reference, we tend to just have at it, in the sense that let's just start building things. There's definitely a degree of, okay, let's figure out the big shapes and let's figure out the big picture. But we are detail obsessed. So we sometimes go right for the details. And that sometimes isn't so bad a thing.
Putting the details in the environment is actually a Naughty Dog quality, almost to a fault, and we actually have to stop ourselves from just putting too much.
I assume Rich talked a lot about how just in depth he went to making sure that the London pub was completely authentic. And I can't say I was part of that. It would have just been just a few too many British people in the kitchen. if you will, had we all kind of ganged up and tried to create it as authentically as possible. But I certainly did witness that, and it's really nice to see whenever a Naughty Dog gets that into the details.
I was particularly concerned about people in the UK feeling like this was a real place, somewhere that maybe they recognised if they travelled to the East End of London. So that was a fairly easy sell for me with my teammates.
Typical bloody Yank, all talk.
It felt like we'd already kind of hit the peak. How do we beat that? How do you beat so many Game of the Year awards? Like, do you even try? And yes, you definitely try. Whether you succeed or not probably isn't so important.
Everybody has done such an amazing job. And you walk through the studio and you look at any monitor and you got to take a double take. And you wait, what level is that? Who's working on that again? Because it all looks so great.
Uncharted is probably the most exciting IP I've ever worked on because of just the improvements in each iteration, just the improvements from 1, 2, and 3. The team continues to evolve and just get better. And whether that's just people that are just working really hard to create better content, or the new blood that we're bringing in every iteration that adds a new flavor to the DNA of the company and just puts it to the next level, is just amazing. I can't wait for the next following games that we're going to be working on.
It's always challenging when you're working in this genre and you're trying to come up with a sequel, because so much of the territory is so well trodden, and we have to find that sweet spot between surprising our fans and also providing the familiar experience that they want.
If you recall, the last time we went halfway around the world searching for a lost city, things got more than a little dicey.
Yeah, but this time we have the upper hand.
Uncharted 3 has some big shoes to fill. Uncharted 2, we were very lucky. We got like tons of awards for that game. It's sort of like, where do we go now, you know?
What the hell?
Let's do it.
I think what would surprise people is that when we set out to figure out what we're going to do with each new game, a lot of it is driven by practical concerns rather than just sort of purely creative ones. People probably imagine we sit there and just sort of blue sky story and things like that, and actually what we do is we think, all right, where have we not been? What technologies have we not pushed? What would challenge us as game developers? And what are some really awesome set pieces that would blow people's minds? And then we kind of write the story around that. And that sounds almost like an embarrassing admission, but I think it's the way it should be done.
All right, what is all this crap you're giving me about Sully?
Why don't you just complain with me? Those guys are not here for historical research, and neither are you.
It's like right brain, left brain, where one part is like dealing with the aesthetics and what you're trying to go for creatively, and the other part, of course, is like how to realize that. And, you know, that's usually a lot of problem solving. So you have to kind of like bring those together in a way that you get the most bang for the buck and get things to really come alive in the game.
From the very beginning, when we're coming up with a story, it's not just Amy, it's Amy and myself and Justin and Taylor and Richard and other people putting in their 2 cents for ideas, and the entire company really participates in that process. But even then, once we get to the stage, it's Amy's script, but then it's the actors' own input into their characters that influences the way that we end up doing the performances.
Drake, we must go, now! Yalla! Never a dull moment, huh, Sully?
Why change now?
Yeah!
We want contributions from everybody. We carry that same philosophy onto the stage with the actors. We don't just go into the voice studio and stand an actor in front of a copy stand and a microphone and say, well, here's your lines, just read them. We shoot the story as if it were film or television or theater. And, of course, that means the actors get to sort of settle into their characters as well. They genuinely enjoy working together. And, you know, again, some of the best moments are completely improvised by them. And I will always give them credit for that. And some of the the most sort of touching moments are because these aren't people that just met, you know. They've known each other for 5 years and they actually have this relationship.
You have these actors who have played these characters now for the 3rd game in a row, and they know these characters. They've helped build these characters really from scratch. It's really interesting to see them get to really kind of spread your wings isn't the right way to put it. These actors are getting a chance to sort of explore the corners of who these actors are, of who these characters are.
You can skip the mind games. You don't know me.
You know, if we come up with some ideas on the spot, you know, we'll try them out, and if they end up working, then we'll use them. I mean, probably one of the best examples of that is even from the first game when Nolan and Emily had a scene where Elena's character had just caught up with Nathan Drake's character and she was pissed off, and we ran the scene a few times, and Emily just said, hey, you know, I feel like I should hit him here. And, you know, it wasn't in the script, but we thought, yeah, okay, that might actually be funny. So, you know, we get in the scene and she does this like, and, you know, of course it worked great, and that ended up making it into the final cinematic in Uncharted 1. And that kind of stuff happens all the time.
If you just watch their faces when they're saying a line, there's the essence of it right there. Now, we don't just kind of mimic it, but that is our reference. That is where, you know, that's what we kind of, that's our launching off point. And then we take that and we enable our animators to interpret that in the way that's gonna serve us best.
He's not here.
We do not do and never have done any facial animation capture. There's a number of reasons for that. We actually looked into a couple of possibilities when we were first working on Uncharted 1, but ultimately it ends up giving us more limitations than it does flexibility. We have some phenomenal animators back in the office that can really craft the performances to be exactly what we want them to be. And when you're working with facial capture, you know, you're just kind of stuck with what you got, and you gotta spend all this time cleaning it up to get to where you want it to be, so why not just do what you want from the get-go?
God, what a dick, right? Come on. We gotta find a way out of here fast.
We're completing the performance that was started on the stage. You know, we have amazing actors who give us these incredible little vignettes of, you know, scenes that are very personal, and I love the energy that they have with each other, and we need to make sure that what they started is completed.
Nate, just who are we dealing with here?
Working on the 3rd outing in a series, you have to think about, you know, how are you changing things up, and you want to do it in ways that are meaningful, but sometimes you arrive at them in ways that are sort of simple and obvious. And one of the things that immediately occurred to us is it'd be more interesting to see a female antagonist this time.
Same cocky little shit. So fearless. I wonder what you're really afraid of.
And it'd be more interesting to have a antagonist who was more cerebral and therefore challenged Drake in different ways.
You get off on all this, don't you? Cheating death.
It's a very different character to try to write. It's actually a much harder character to try to write, and then it was a much harder character to cast. And thank God we found Rosalind Ayers, because she brought something really unusual, I think, to the character.
I'm sorry, Nathan. It seems you've been removed from the equation.
It's been a lot of fun to have a female villain, and she's kind of wicked.
Catherine! She gets into your head, and she wants to know what makes you tick, and she wants to know what you're afraid of, and she'll find out.
But she's also, like, sweet, and it's very unnerving in a good way. That's I think what makes her a good villain is that she's prim and proper and wicked.
Yes, it is regrettable, but...
Not regrettable. Sloppy.
One of the things you want to do is delve more into Drake and his background and his personality, his relationship with Sullivan, how that came to be. But also, it says something about... His past says something about how he is in the present, just like it does for all of us, right?
I just want to make sure we're doing this for the right reasons. You got your pride all tangled up in this thing. It's making you reckless. I taught you better than that.
I've always perceived Drake as someone who has some issues about loss and abandonment, and, you know, therefore keeps people at arm's distance. And when things get too real, he's real good at being the hero, but when things get too real, he might make himself scarce. We don't know people like that in real life, do we? No.
We've been trying to reach you for over 24 hours.
Oh, right, I need to top up my minutes.
You're using a prepaid phone?
Mate, those contracts are a complete rip-off.
What? Mine's broken.
I've been working with Amy and Taylor on the Uncharted games since the very beginning, right? And the three of us have this rapport and communication that enable us to really collaborate and work together and get the best possible results from each other.
Come on, admit it. You love all this as much as I do.
Naughty Dog is, I think, very unusual in the fact that we've actually grown to be a pretty large developer, but we've retained that sort of garage shop mentality and really collaborative spirit and a very, very flat hierarchy. There's not a lot of management or order or organization. You know, it's mostly just sort of seat of the pants chaos, to be honest.
Well, well, well.
It's cute.
What?
Because it's a well.
Shall we?
We don't have like a typical structure where we have a producer that kind of goes around and coordinates all the various aspects of the game.
And ultimately, what you see in the end result in the cinematics is really the product of dozens of different people's ideas and vision. It's not just one person saying it's my way or the highway. Everything goes in.
It's hard, I think, as a writer to say, all right, everybody just trust me and come along on this journey with me, you know, while you yourself are terrified that, you know, you're hoping that all of these ideas coalesce.
You are a crafty little beggar, aren't you?
I know how to take care of myself.
On the other hand, part of, I think, the experience and the act of faith in yourself is, well, I've been doing this for 22 years, and I've always pulled it off, that you as a creator and a writer, as well as trusting in the people around you, that the right answers will be there when you need them.
It's going to be really gratifying when this thing that seemed like it was going to be impossible to do actually happens, and we just sort of rain that down on the fans, and that's going to be sort of an amazing, amazing moment, I think. I'm looking forward to that.
Perfect. Here we go.